Well, flat for the markets, not much happening. Yes, the Nifty Bank is down almost 500 points, so that's the talking point a bit. But the market is allowing today to talk about a much bigger issue, take the eyes away from the micro to a big looming macro issue which could impact India's growth going forward, and that's the water crisis. In 1992, US President Bill Clinton's strategist James Carville famously said that when it comes to elections, it's the economy, stupid. That quote went to dominate political and economic discussions and remains relevant even today. But guess what is threatening the economy 3 decades later? It's neither unemployment nor inflation. It's neither interest rate nor the sluggish growth. It's water, stupid. Yes, you heard that right. Water scarcity, which was once a problem of India's hinterland, has come today to haunt India's shining metros too. From people running after water tankers in the national capital Delhi to Mumbai's BMC imposing water cuts and having a meeting today to discuss about further water cuts, and this is happening at the peak of monsoon. The water crisis is real and is threatening to derail the Indian growth story. A recent Moody's report, which was just released last week, said that India's worsening water crisis can affect its sovereign credit strength as well as sectors that heavily consume water, such as generation and manufacturing. As climate takes a turn for the worse, India is staring at an unprecedented water crisis. To discuss this further, and is this really something which deserves a much larger attention, we have with us Nitin Bassi, the Senior Program Lead at Council of Energy, Environment and Water, and Devendra Pant, Chief Economist at India Ratings. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time and speaking with us. A very important topic today. Nitin, I wanted to take a step back and discuss with you as to what got us here. This huge amount of water crisis that Indian cities, right from Bengaluru in the south to, of course, Delhi in the north, which they are facing, what has led to that? Is this pure mismanagement of the resources we had, or is it the fact that weather has turned for the worse and there's been a lot less rainfall this monsoon so far?
Thanks for having us on the show. First of all, I would like to highlight that it is actually a mix of both. Both how the climate is changing, which is impacting the hydrology through the rainfall, as well as the increasing demand that we are experiencing across India, whether we talk about industries, we talk about urban areas, and we talk about agriculture. Now, we are already experiencing what climate change can do. For example, if I talk about Delhi, till mid of last week, we were experiencing heat wave. And suddenly on Friday, we received more than 200 millimeter of rainfall, and most of the Delhi was underwater. So such extremes are going to be increasing in future. Our own analysis at CW, it shows how the rainfall is changing. The areas in the past which were receiving less rainfall have suddenly started receiving more rainfall. But then there are areas which are supposed to, receive higher rainfall, and they are receiving less rainfall. And most of them are in the eastern side of India. Now, if I specifically talk about water availability, presently we are already a water stress nation, which is defined as water availability of less than 1,700 cubic meter per capita per annum. So we are currently around 1,500. In near future, let's say by 2030, will be around 1,350. But then there is also a lot of regional variation. So already a lot of river basins. That is how we discuss country when we talk about water resources. So many of the basins are already experiencing, not only stress but also scarcity, which is availability below 1,000 cubic meter per person per year. Now, what it does, specifically, if I talk about industries and look that thermal power plants are the one which are withdrawing water the most, but they are also the ones which are important for the India, energy production at the moment. I mean, still 60 to 70% of the energy comes from the thermal power plants. And
Right.
when I see that the water scarcity and the stress which is playing out in the eastern India, so I
Yeah.
think the functioning of the thermal power plants are going to be impacted. And this
Yeah.
is where we have to bring in new technology and new interventions to make
Absolutely.
our economy resilient.
Absolutely, new technology is something that will be required, but let's also bring on board and take the discussion forward with Devendra Pant as well, a chief economist at India Ratings. Mr. Pant, what I want to carry forward the conversation is that even Nitin was mentioning right now that we are anyways a country that was scarce in terms of water versus our requirement that was there, right? So how is it that now that what is it that is required to be changed to one get back on the path of moving towards the better side, as well as how do you see overall this not impacting the economic growth? What is it that one will require in this crisis right now?
uh, Water, I'll just add one more phenomenon into it. So what we receive from the monsoon is total water which we receive is by through rains is within 80 to 100 hours of actually the rainfall. And that goes down the either Arabian Sea or to Bay of Bengal. We have built all those storage system and all those. Somehow we are not able to make the best use of the monsoon rainfall which we receive. Having said that, as the lifestyle is changing, as the incomes are growing, then you will see the more lifestyle changes and more water requirement. Compared to the water consumption, say a decade back compared to now, the consumption or demand is much more. The first thing it affects is your, as your screen is showing, is the drinking water. The second it affects is your agriculture. We have improved upon our irrigation intensity, but if the reservoirs doesn't have that kind of water storage, then that irrigation intensity will not give us the results or will not give the returns. We have some progress in having some seeds and which will be able to withstand some of this rain shocks, so which can withstand a higher water or which can grow in the less water. But that is again more in the on the drying board stage or more on the field stage, and although we haven't seen the across country those being
Devendra, if I can interject you there, and the question I wanted to discuss with you is the fact as to is this only a transient issue and only a mistiming of monsoon and rain? Or do you think this is something which can actually, throw a curveball at India's growth story? Because that's the question being raised, that we, as it is, were facing a lot of electricity deficit, which was perhaps, slowing down the potential of growth. Is water now another lever that could perhaps impact the sovereign strength or even slow down the GDP growth? All that assumption of 8 to 9% GDP can, fall back to 7 to 8%.
Unfortunately, it's not a transitory because the climate change we are seeing across the globe. Uh, the rainfall will or the extreme weather events frequency is continuously increasing, and it leads to everything like the CO2 emission and all those deforestation and all because of that. So it is, yes, the water scarcity is going to have impact not only to the agriculture, unless we develop or have those seeds and those crops which can withstand this. uh, yes, there is, say, for example, if you talk about the Northeast, annual rainfall is way too high. So if even in the Northeast, there's a 20% rainfall storage, the amount of rainfall it takes place in the northeastern region, it is unlikely to have a significant impact on the agri. But if you talk about say the Western India, okay, Punjab, Haryana, Western UP is irrigated, but ultimately, end of the day, that irrigation water is what the rain water, which is being stored and which is being used. So there's no doubt about it that water problem is not transitory. It is there to stay. how best, how quickly we evolve this, how quick we can take steps whereby we can reduce the water wastage. And post that, the agri, other than the agri, you have the manufacturing which is getting impacted. You have the hydroelectricity which will be impacted. So saying that it will not have any impact or it's a transitory is not correct. It's a major issue, major challenge which the policy maker they are thinking about, but everyone, citizens also have to think seriously about this.
Absolutely, it is a serious issue that has been, that is looming. But, Nitin, let's just talk about it in terms of the wastage of water also that happens. While there is scarcity, but there's a lot of wastage that happens. So, that is a big issue that is also there. And how should one be addressing that issue right now, given that we are already in a water shortage situation?
Well, this is a very important aspect of whole water management and the conservation exercise. See, before I get to your specific query, let me also share that there are three ways in which we can enable water security. One is water augmentation, that wherever the rains are increasing, the more water is flowing through. We have to initiate water harvesting. We have to ensure the reservoirs are in sufficiency, which can take care of the water supply when the rains are not there, usually in the late winter and the summer season. The second aspect is demand management, that how we actually manage the demand. And this is where water conservation becomes very important. You might be aware that Government of India launched a kind of a mission which is called as Lifestyle for Environment. Under Lifestyle for Environment, they have spoken about various things which can be done at the household level, which will make a lot of difference in the way water is used and kind of managed at that level. For example, it is as simple as using the water which is coming out from your ACs, reusing it for cleaning purposes in the household. So these are very small things which can be taken up. Now, how we translate this into our industrial production, into the agricultural system. So for agriculture, for long we have been trying to promote micro irrigation systems, mainly drip and the sprinkler technology, and the idea is to reduce the water usage. Similarly, for industries, they have to find new technologies, and I've said this before. And let me just give one example, and then I will stop
Sure.
as well. For example, when we talk about thermal power plants, I mean, some of the statistics that you are reflecting also shows that how much water they withdraw.
Correct.
Now the point is, can we make them use desalinated water, especially those who are near the coastline, because then you are reducing demand on the fresh water.
Right.
Similarly, for those who are inland, can they make use of treated wastewater? Then again, they are reducing their dependence on fresh water.
Sure.
So these are some of the technological interventions and barriers that we have to breach if we are
Right.
really, want to conserve and manage our water better.
Sure. Nitin, Devendra, thanks so much for your time.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.